Good morning. Our hand today is going to be King Queen. This hand happened years ago, so we're going to go back and see how maybe we could have played things differently a little bit. So in this hand, mid position open raises, and it is on us, and I just call. I have 264 hands on this player. He's playing 2110. When we look at his raise first in stat, it's about 13%, buttons at 14%, but only 7 hands on there. I think this is probably more realistic. Early position, we've got 57 hands, he's raising 9%, so I think it's probably about 13% or so, maybe 14%, maybe 12% raise first in stat. He does have a limping range that's going to be probably pretty tight, or not very wide, I should say. Not tight isn't necessarily the correct word. So I think when we looked at 13%, this is 13.3. This is probably okay. It might be off a little bit. We might have like all the suited aces instead. Maybe just the suited connectors. Maybe we add queen jack, and we've got something like this. I'm going to go with something like this, a little bit more linear range here. Broadway hands, and then pocket pairs down to about 7. We're dealing with a mid position player. I think the mid position player is he doesn't seem to be overly tight. I mean, we could look at the difference here. So overly tight, we're looking at this, where our king queen offsuit would be a fold. Our calling range is here in this yellow 3-bet range. His fold 3-bet stat's 100% right now, and it's only one time. We could definitely have 3-bet this and stayed heads up, but when we look at the players behind us, they don't look like they're super loose. I think we could probably play this hand in position. Obviously, being suited would be a whole lot better than having offsuits. Versus a standard mid position, everything in gray is a 3-better call. So we could 3-bet this. We could just call. Here I just chose to call, so we're going to go with our calling range of a king queen offsuit, and we take a flop of queen 5-4 with 2 spades. So queen of spades, 4 spades, and 5 of diamonds. So we have a king of spades, which I think is pretty good for us. I think for that reason, we're not going to go forward with any sort of raise of a c-bet, because if we happen to be behind the ace queen, we want to be able to see that turn and possibly that river card to try to hit that backdoor flush draw, which could give us the win. Now, ace of spades isn't accounted for, so we could improve to our flush and still lose to the nut flush, but I think we have reason. We have decent enough backdoor draw that I'm not sure if we should be raising here and blowing people out of, or raising here and then having to fold some of our equity if they raise. So, if villain c-bets, which I kind of expect him to do based on a c-bet stats, out of position 67%. I think he's going to c-bet. If we raise, I think he's raising. He'll probably 3-bet us, possibly with ace queen, definitely with like trips. I just think it's going to be hard for us to rep anything super strong. Yes, we could have 4s, we could have 5s, but we can't have like king, ace queen. I think we would 3-bet those. It's unlikely that we have like queen 4, queen 5. We could have 4-5, maybe 2 pair. That's a possibility. Maybe we could have our flush draw. So let's see what happens. Villain does c-bet. He actually c-bets fairly large, and I think yesterday we said that the large c-bet was indicative of a strong hand. Maybe that's not always the case, but I think his c-bet definitely going to be flush draw. I'm going to say maybe the gut shot is probably doing that, although at this time I think c-betting gut shots was less common. I think we have pocket pair less than the top card. He's probably c-betting that. And then I think we're going to probably give him the ace kings as well. Say he's probably c-betting those. So 71%, I think that's his range. You can see our top pair hand's going to be pretty good. he's got queen jack, he's got queen 10 that I think he's going to c-bet, and our king is going to outkick that. Yeah, he has overpairs, he's got trips, you know, the big trips. I don't think we don't have trip queens, that's for sure. I'd also say I think at this time standard c-bet was about 2/3 to 3/4 pot, maybe full pot size bet for a couple people. So I guess I should have mentioned that in yesterday's video, but yeah, I think standard c-bets at this time of year were, or at this time playing 2017, it was basically 2/3. So he bets. What do we do? Well, let's see, what would we be raising, and then what would we balance that with? You could see that we have hands that we could definitely raise, you know, these vulnerable pairs. I think if we raise all of those, it doesn't leave us a whole lot of cards to just call with. So gut shots, flush draws, probably 2-card backdoor flush draw. The bottom pair and middle pair, those are vulnerable, but we're going to have ace 4, ace 5. I think those could probably be played just as a call. We've got some backdoor straight potential. I think we have some backdoor straight potential there, but you can see that this is kind of where we're looking at. 50% raise, 24% calling. I think our calling range is going to be somewhat weak. It's going to be somewhat draws, but with our draws, I think you have the potential of betting spades if a spade comes out, even though we don't have a spade, and possibly, you know, getting player to fold the better hand. We don't have just pure air in our calling range. And that might not actually be too bad, but again, on this dry board, I think we have like the king queen of spades. When we have the king of spades, I think maybe we want to just call with that. So I think that's what we would do. We would call with the king queen of spades. Because we don't really have anything else. And maybe the pocket pairs that have the spade. So definitely be more inclined to raise if we don't have the spade than if we don't. So what did we do? We just called. So let's continue as if we were playing this. So definitely set. I think this could be a hand where we do raise. We have to figure out how to get. I guess we're going to have to X out some of these things. Yeah, we don't want a statistic. Yeah, pocket pairs. Not all of them. So let's say, but if we do it with a king, maybe we also 6, 7. No, I think we're gonna be raising all of those. I'm gonna leave top pair in just because we've got the king of spades, the king queen with a king of spades. So however many, that's 3 combos, and we don't have queen 10. Let's just get queen 10 out of there. All right, so that's going to be our calling range, and we go to turn ace of spades. Now that's actually a really good card for us because it now means that if we have the spade, we're drawing to the nut. So what does villain do? Villain checks, which is kind of interesting. So he does have this tendency, c-betting on the flop, and then it's here in position, he c-bet 0 out of 3, 1 out of 4. I think he frees up, and this is going to be a great spot where we're going to see him freeze up. So I don't think he has a flush anymore. You know, we blocked the king, the second nut that could have bet. I think his set's probably going to be checking 2 pair. I think all of these hands are going to be checking because he's scared of the flush that came out there. Now that makes it hard for us. That makes it hard for us because he's going to have basically the rest of his range here that we have to contend with. And our top pair hand is still going to be behind his top pair plus hands. But I could say that I don't think he's got his flush. So that's his. Now it's on us. What do we do? Well, we've got top pair. I think if we're ahead and we bet, I think he's only going to be folding worse hands. So I don't think there's really an advantage of betting for value. Yes, if we bet, he's going to be calling with better hands, and we have the equity, or we have potential improvement. But I don't think this is going to be a spot for us to raise. So we've got, I think we can definitely go value with our flush draw. So I think that's going to be a bet. Our 2 pair, ace 5, ace 4, I think is going to be a bet. We're going to go for value with that. Our top pair hands, I think top pair is probably where we're not going to be betting. I think we're going to get one more call if we bet. And we could bet it here, or we could bet the river. Maybe we do. Let's say we do bet top pair. It's going to be that second pair. So the second pair we check back. What do I do? I think, did I check back? I did. So we're going to check back. Yeah, there it is. We're going to check back our nut flush draw. And remember, the second middle pair, we didn't have, I guess we did have the backdoor flush draw. Yeah, we're going to have that. The nut flush has their second, third. I think our gut shots are going to be betting hands. So we're going top pair plus and our gut shots. Let's actually do this. There's our gut shots. Top pair plus. All right, got distracted. Not sure where we left off, but I think this is going to be our raising range. So raising range is top pair plus and all of our gut shots. It's about 2 to 1. 2 to 1 value to bluff ratio. Might need to raise it up, but we didn't really have any other like spade draws. Just that king of spades. And I think with the king of spades, that king queen, I think we're just going to put that into our calling range. So that way we've got queen 10, king queen. Only about 15% of the hands that we call. I think this is definitely a spot where we're going to be raising a lot more. And our plan then going forward is, if we bet and he calls, we're going to probably bet all of the non-spades. I think we would bet all of our non-spades because the most likely hand that villain 2 would have would then be that lone spade hoping to get to the flush. And I think betting twice, we would be betting here. So like our bet here would be probably about 2/3 to 3/4 pot, so maybe about 16 or 17 big blinds, and then a river bet on a non-spade would probably be just as large. We're trying to maximize, what we have, and I think that also maximizes our value range as well. So we would make that bet with our flushes and so forth. If it's a spade and we bet, I think we just check behind, unless we have like the king, the nut flush ourself. I think it kind of stinks. So I think it would kind of stink. Like we would bet king 10 and king 9 and hope that he has a queen of spades that he calls down with us. But if we have jack 10, jack 9, I think we just check behind, because I think he's probably going to call with that. He's probably calling with the king of spades. Now checking, like we did here. If we check here and then he checks on the turn, or checks on the river, I think we could go for a little bit of thin value with our queen. So king queen and queen 10. I think definitely king queen we're betting. I think queen 10 we just check behind, because with king queen we're hoping he has queen jack and he'll pay us off. But with queen 10 we're getting beat by the hands that we expect to get called. So 9 of diamonds comes out. So yeah, we would at this point, if he checks to us, had we bet the turn, we'd fire again. Villain 2 checks. So now at this point, I think he would be, we're going to say he's checking everything. Would he ever bet? Probably not. I think he's scared of the sets and stuff. So if we bet here, we're expecting him to call with probably middle pair plus. So 70%. I think we have 30% folds. Middle pair maybe. Queen 10 might be the only thing. I think it would be middle pair plus. So at this point, our queen 10 is just a check. Our king queen, we're hoping to get him to call with the queen jack and probably the queen 10. I think that's speculative. And I do think it's a little bit of thin value. I think most of the time that he calls, he's gonna be beating us. I think most of the time he's gonna be beating us. But with king queen, yeah, just thin value. So he did check, and then we check behind. So yeah, looking at us, we're just full of middle pair, king queen, queen 10. And I think if he has a read on us, he could probably make that assumption that when we called or when we check behind, we probably don't have an ace. We probably don't have the spade. So I think that's why queen 10 would likely call. Now, if we think he has like jacks and 10s, I think that adds number of combos that we beat and kind of argues for a thin value bet here. So I check behind. Villain shows king jack with the jack of spades. So does he have that? Basically has nothing. Yeah, so it kind of goes back. Didn't have that in his range. Where did we drop it? This king jack spades. He had king jack off. That's where it was, king jack. So maybe he's c-betting 100%. I don't think that changes anything here. And then 9 of diamonds. Yeah, he's not calling that. So yeah, he's still just not. 60% is what he would call. Yeah, so he missed this hand. Didn't think he would necessarily c-bet with just king jack, but he did. So he does play a little bit aggressively. So hopefully you enjoyed this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another hand.